So what I'm doing now is the video of my gaming collection, which actually isn't very extensive, but I figured I may as well videotape it because, I mean, really, why not? I guess ignore the bright light in my face. It's just the stuff is in a closet, some of it, and underneath some stuff, so I'm gonna need the light. So I figured I don't want to like turn it off, turn it back on, and whatever else. Let's start this tape by saying a little something for this DV tape right here that had to die for the cause. I actually recorded it a second ago, and the tape came out of the camcorder like that. So I guess, you know, get a little shout out to that tape. It tried to do its duty. This camcorder is a couple years old, so, and by a couple I mean probably about 7 or 8. So okay, let's go in the closet and show you what I have. Okay, this top shelf is obviously a mess, but these are games, DVDs, etc. It's a VGA box. This is a power pad for NES. I keep most of my gaming stuff in this closet, obviously. I got a GameCube. Underneath that, you see an N64, and underneath this there is a Model 2 Genesis. Which actually I have 3 Genesises, so that one is not the one I keep in rotation. Then here is a NES Advantage, that arcade joystick. It's actually a very good joystick, I think. I've got these Donkey Kong bongos, and this top shelf, honestly, I barely ever use this stuff on here. The power pad's just too noisy, and I don't play much with that Advantage. And then GameCube N64. GameCube, it's an import GameCube, and I had got it for Naruto games back when I thought those were good. And I only had a couple other, like Mario and some other things. And then 64, I've got Zelda and GoldenEye and a couple other games, but in fact, actually, it's my friend's. I'm borrowing it from him, and I haven't played it much. So over here, I've got a Saturn arcade stick, which actually this arcade stick feels kind of cheap to me, but it probably was good back when it came out, and there wasn't much else you could get. The one I usually use is over here. This is that Street Fighter Anniversary Collection stick. I actually took off the artwork, which I replaced it with nothing, so maybe I should have just left it on, but I replaced these buttons with real arcade buttons and the arcade stick with real arcade stick, and I wired it up myself to work on my system. And I found out after I was looking around that I actually have 3 arcade sticks, which you think is kind of a lot. This here is the U-Force, that Nintendo accessory that uses IR to read your movements. Put it up a little bit or something. Hold on a second. This thing, you wave your hands in front of it to play the game. You're supposed to. There's like this attachment here that you can like use like a flight stick. It works all right, but I don't really think it was worth it. Maybe back when it came out, it was more amazing than now. And then in this case here, I've got all my NES games. I have an okay number in box. The rest of them are all loose. I don't have any large number of games, of course, but these ones in box actually I got a pretty good price. Somebody either didn't know the value or just wanted to get rid of them or what have you. If you want to see some of the games that I have, I'll go buy them, see if you probably recognize them from the labels, and they're mostly they have this spine printing. Then I've got a couple Super Nintendo games. This is a cart for the Saturn game. Some games require a cart. I think the only one I have that does it, but some of them have a cart slot. Obviously some Genesis games. Streets of Rage here is basically my favorite Genesis game. There's a couple Atari games, and over here on the side here, these are all my cartridge games. So there's Genesis, there's Super Nintendo, there's some Atari games in there. It's just all mixed in. But I actually kept a lot of stuff from my Genesis back when I was a kid, so I've got a lot of the boxes and everything, which is kind of cool. I actually have 2 Ataris. I have that smaller one, and I have the original enormous one. I don't have too many Atari games because I just got what came with it the first time I got it. I'm looking for some, but They're kind of hard to come by. These are all the wires and controllers for all these systems, which, as many systems as I have, it actually is a lot of wires and a lot of controllers. It's kind of ridiculous. I always wonder, when I see other people's collection videos, I never see the wires, and you got quite a lot of them. So the one other thing to show you is the systems that I have hooked up, which are most of the systems that you didn't see. Oh, actually here. This is another arcade stick that I have. This was a Dreamcast arcade stick, but I gutted it. I put new buttons, new joystick, and I wired this up too. Usually the games, if you're wondering why I have so many arcade sticks, I usually play Street Fighter, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom type games, and I'm a big fan of them, so I figured I may as well go all the way and get the arcade sticks, and actually I even learned how to wire the arcade sticks just so I could play them. But, you know, like gaming people's hobbies or whatever. Okay, well here's what I have hooked up to my television most times. I've got the Sega CD and the Sega Genesis. I got the original Sega CD and the original Genesis. The original Sega CD is kind of cool because it opens up like a disc tray like a regular computer. I think it's pretty interesting. I've got a Wii there, sitting next to an NES, which NES is one of my favorite systems, next to Genesis and everything. That under there is just a switcher if you're wondering. Then I've got my Sega Saturn, and that in the back is a cart for RAM games that take like 2 megabytes, 1 megabyte, or 4 megabytes of RAM. Some games take extra RAM. Actually, this Saturn, I'll show you in the back here. I modded it with a switch so I could play imports, which it actually wasn't too complicated, but I can imagine it would be if you don't know how to do it. If you don't know how to wire things up, of course. Then I've got my Dreamcast, my Super Nintendo, and my PS2. I never splurged on those next-gen systems, so this is basically what I've got, but I think it's a pretty solid set of things to have. I mean, I noticed also that I have a lot of Sega systems. I even also have the Sega Nomad, and I used to have a Sega Game Gear, but I think that's long gone. I have a Neo Geo Pocket that you're not seeing right now, somewhere tucked away in a drawer. I've got a Game Boy Color, but I mean, like, everyone had a Game Boy Color and some other stuff, but basically this is my gaming collection for the most part. The games and everything are in other places, but I don't know if the hardware or the software is more important to look at. But anyway, I guess I hope it was interesting to some extent, and I guess have a good night. Actually, there's one more thing I wanted to show you. It's very nice out. I thought I may as well show outside. And also, I live in New York City, and I don't know what people's perceptions usually are. I usually hear bad things about it, but I mean, it's a pretty nice day outside. And this is the view from my window. I always think when I watch videos, it's always kind of interesting to see what people's areas look like. So I thought maybe this would interest somebody. But anyway, have a good day, night, whenever you're watching this, and I guess I'll make another video sometime. Alright.